Welcome to our channel, where we bring you some of the most interesting and informative videos on the internet. Today, we're going to talk about something that has been intriguing people for ages: the world's most dangerous prisoners. These prisoners are infamous for their crimes, and they have been incarcerated in some of the most high-security prisons in the world. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the top 10 most dangerous prisoners in the world. Number 10, Charles Manson. Charles Manson is one of the most notorious criminals of the 20th century. He was the leader of the Manson Family, a cult that committed a series of 9 murders in the late 1960s. Manson was sentenced to life imprisonment for his role in the murders. He died in prison in 2017 at the age of 83. Number 9, Terry Nichols. Terry Nichols was convicted of the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, which killed 168 people and injured more than 680 others. He is currently serving multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole in a maximum security prison in Colorado. Number 8, Thomas Sills. Thomas Sills is a serial killer who murdered 7 people in 1979 and 1980. He was sentenced to death in 1983, but his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment in 2004. He is currently serving his sentence in a maximum security prison in California. Number 7, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is a senior Al-Qaeda member who is accused of being the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks. He was captured in 2003 and has been held in detention by the U.S. government ever since. He is currently being held at the Guantanamo Bay detention camp in Cuba. Number 6, Robert Hansen. Robert Hansen, also known as the Butcher Baker, was a serial killer who murdered between 17 and 21 young women in Alaska in the 1970s and 1980s. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in 1984 and died in prison in 2014. Number 5, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is a former Mexican drug lord who was the leader of the Sinaloa cartel. He was responsible for smuggling tons of cocaine, heroin, and other drugs into the United States. He was captured multiple times and escaped from prison twice before being extradited to the United States in 2017. He is currently serving a life sentence in a maximum security prison in Colorado. Number 4, James Whitey Bulger. James Whitey Bulger was a notorious Boston mobster who was responsible for numerous murders, extortion, and drug trafficking. He was on the run for 16 years before being captured in 2011. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and was killed in prison in 2018. Number 3, Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, was a serial killer and rapist who terrorized Southern California in the mid-1980s. He was convicted of 13 murders and numerous other crimes and was sentenced to death. He died in prison in 2013. Number 2, Charles Arthur Floyd. Charles Arthur Floyd, also known as Pretty Boy Floyd, was a notorious bank robber and gangster in the 1920s and 1930s. He was responsible for numerous robberies and murders and was known for his charm and charisma. He was killed by FBI agents in 1934. Number 1, Anders Behring Breivik. Anders Behring Breivik is a Norwegian right-wing extremist who carried out a terrorist attack on July 22, 2011 in Norway. He first set off a bomb in the government district of Oslo, killing 8 people, and then went on a shooting spree at a youth summer camp on the island of Utøya, where he killed 69 people, mostly teenagers. In total, 77 people were killed in the attacks and more than 300 were injured. Breivik was arrested on the same day as the attacks and was later sentenced to 21 years in prison, which is the maximum sentence in Norway. He was convicted of terrorism and mass murder, and the sentence can be extended indefinitely if he is still considered a threat to society after the initial 21-year period. Breivik's trial was highly publicized and controversial, with many debates about his motives, mental health, and political beliefs. He claimed to be a member of a far-right group called the Knights Templar, but the existence of the group and Breivik's alleged links to it have been disputed. Breivik is currently being held in isolation in a high-security prison in Norway, where he is allowed limited contact with the outside world. His case remains one of the most shocking and tragic acts of terrorism in modern European history. That concludes our video on the top 10 most dangerous prisoners in the world. We hope you found this video informative and fascinating. It's important to remember that these individuals committed heinous crimes that have had a significant impact on society. While they may be locked up, their stories serve as a reminder of the dangers that exist in the world. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting and informative content.